Why people join gangs. And when I say people, I should really say why children join gangs. Nowadays, you might find some, 20-year old, some person in their 20s wanting to join a gang. But for the most part, it's children that create gangs and it's children that join gangs. So why do children join gangs? Well, a couple different reasons for that. And everybody that, join their gang or their organization, of course, have their own reasons. But many people join gangs due to a combination of individual vulnerabilities, environmental factors, lack of family support, a need for belonging and respect, economic hardship, poverty, exposure to violence. Many gangs often seem like or are perceived like they give benefits, and they do to a certain extent. Um, but people have be lacking a sense of identity, protection, financial gain, the brotherhood and camaraderie of it all. All type of stuff that might be missing in a child's life. Family and home environment, unstable or broken homes, neglect, substance abuse when parents are, doing alcohol or drugs, lack of supervision, mom at work, dad at work, whatever the case may be, when young people are left alone, vulnerable, they're just seeking support. They just might need someone to talk to. Poverty, lack of resources and opportunities, low educational attainment, limited financial, no job. All that type of stuff can make the lure of being in a gang more promising. A lot of gangs, you see them with the gold chains, the cars, the watches, the girls, good looking girls. It just on the outside looking in, it looks attractive. It's an attraction for real. Of course, exposure to gang violence. If you're living in areas with heavy gang activity, or you got two or three gangs in one neighborhood, they might be fighting over it, or they all might be cool. You just go out and see these gang members all over and think it's cool. You might have some family members involved with gangs. Hey, this is my favorite cousin so and so, and he got down with the gang, and you looked up to him for the past 5 years of your life. So now you think it's cool. You're normalizing gang life. It basically become normal. You got people in it for, protection, sense of belonging and purpose, identity, loyalty, family. Anyone that feel unloved or unsupported at home, you can find that with, people find that with their friends, their peers, whatever sports team they're on, maybe a teacher at school. And some people find that in your local gangster, your gangs, people committing criminal activity that you might see every day on the block, and they just say hi, or they're giving you $1 to go to the store and grab some juice or whatever. Um, you know, People join gangs for many different reasons: respect, status, power. A lot of communities, it's hard to earn the respect of your peers. Some people think being in a gang or being gang affiliated may offer some respect or some type of dignity or power or recognition or some type of status. And especially if you got other people looking up to them, then you see it in the media, you see it on TV, the industry really pushed that gangster stuff heavy. So your favorite movie might be a gangster movie, and your favorite rapper might be claiming that he's in a gang. You think that's what you want? You see it outside. They got power. They got girls. Excitement, adrenaline, that adrenaline rush. You like that. You just like that criminal activity. It might start off small, where it's like you knocking on doors and running away. Now you throwing apples, the apples from the apple tree at cars. Now you throwing rocks at cars. Now you stealing chromies from cars, and you got a issue with the neighbor down the street. Take your little pocket knife and you stab his tires out or something, and you just getting an adrenaline rush off of it. Next thing you know, you stealing chips from the store. Next thing you know, you're getting into fights. You won your first fight. Or the past 6 months, you got into 3 fights and you lost one, but you won two, and the one you lose, you ain't even lose that bad. So now you feeling good, like, yeah, I'm a fighter too. Now maybe you won all 3 fights, or maybe you get beat up day after day, week after week, going to the store, going to school, and now you want to join this gang for protection, for survival. Maybe the gang you joining is the gang beating you up every day. And so you don't want to get beat up every day. So you finally say, hey, you guys jumped on me every day for the past 6 months. Give me my flag. Give me my put on. I've been getting put on every day. And, or maybe you getting beat up by the gang. So you go to the adjacent neighborhood, or maybe you go to school in a different neighborhood and there's a gang in that neighborhood and they beating you up. So you join in the neighborhood in your gang for protection. Now when you walk to the bus stop or walk to school, you got your homies or your gang walking with you. Especially if it's a gang infested neighborhood and you got different neighborhoods or different gangs fighting over the blocks and the turf. So you might be joining the gang for survival, for protection, because you don't got no other choice. Everyone in the gang, peer pressure, family, friends in the gang. They might have some type of it's not the army or nothing, but they might have some people out there recruiting. All types of stuff can be alluring to the gang life. Looking at this list and going through this stuff, I realized that about 90 to 99% of this stuff literally fits the reason why I joined the gang, as far as not feeling loved, having a sense of identity, family, and having parents that weren't always there, or on drugs, and just growing up in poverty, the lights shut off, the gas shut off, whoop-de-whoop, seeing older cats in the neighborhood with cars and money and glam, and the girls. I remember when I was younger, girls like that macho man, they like the man with the strong muscles, and the man who got pull and status, really. Being a man, period, in this world, you gotta have some type of status, some type of power. Don't matter who you are. A lot of people look up to that, especially the females. But yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why people, more so children, may join gangs. If you're one of them, don't do it. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Don't matter how cool your friends are when you're in a gang. There are usually some type of rules or codes you gotta go by. And if you break those, it could be detrimental to your health. Maybe not. Maybe you guys are just a bunch of young dudes hanging out, and y'all more like the Boy Scouts or the Cub Scouts. A lot of gangs are just, people hanging out in the media, and a lot of people give them a bad rep. But my 2 cents, don't join a gang. Once you get labeled as a gang, it's hard to get that label off of you. You don't want it on you. It's a bad label to have. People don't be like, oh, you in a gang, or you a gangster, you a gang member, and think he an outstanding civilian. He an outstanding member of this community. He's a great dude. He in a gang and everything. You don't ever hear nobody say that. So don't, my suggestion, man, go the other way and stay out the way, make some money. Gang, you see these gang members and the rappers. The what's that called? Slime, YSL, Young Thug, and all them dudes. Let that be a lesson to you. All these dudes that you committing criminal activity with and think you guys are putting in work and doing stuff for the gang. When the Ricos come, when the feds come, when the police and the judges and the DA come and you locked up, they not with you. They not gang no more. They trying to get out. They thinking about their mama. They thinking about their sister. They thinking about their children, their son, their daughter. They thinking about that freedom. They thinking about a girl next to them in the bed. They thinking about all the weed and drink. They not numbing their minds with no more. Now reality hitting them because they getting sober after they been in there for a couple days. And people get to talking. They can't sit in a room by themselves. They can't sit in a little, they can't handle the police interrogating them, beating their face in and getting treated like nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got, they not even feeding you half the time. The other half they feed you. They throwing your stuff on the floor. You gotta, people not ready for that. They're not ready for jail. They're not ready for a lifestyle where you get treated like a you just get treated lower than dirt. It's a lot of people not ready for that. So stay away from gangs, stay out the streets, stay away from crime, don't do drugs. There's a better way to get a dopamine rush than do drugs. All your opinions, thoughts, all that good stuff in the comment section, and I'll catch you on the next one. Much love, peace, blessings, and gratitude.